All right, good day to you folks on Speed Gaming 2. Welcome to our second match of the day. We bring you the opening evening of the Metroid Prime Randomizer 2023 tournament. And we got a good one for you today, folks. For tonight's match, we've got Awp82 versus EmeraldPie. I am Captain MD, and this evening I am joined by Baja Blood. How you doing?
Doing great. We love tournament time here. I'm excited to get in on one of these early races.
Indeed, we just had our opening match this afternoon, where if I could check my notes real quick, we had Mr. Miguel versus Java Mr. Miguel versus Java. Folks definitely want to give that one a watch back later. As for tonight's match, Awp versus EmeraldPie, I do not believe we have any RAs on tap this evening.
Don't think I saw anything at least listed in the notes. So yeah, I'm gonna assume we got standard settings. I guess I can sneak a peek in there, a little scheduling thread when I get a moment here. But yeah, tonight featuring Awp and EmeraldPie. Awp, veteran of the community, been involved in a lot of races, a lot of tournaments. EmeraldPie, I think this is their second tournament. They were the prime player in a CGC team last year. It's maybe their first time doing some solo racing, so welcome them in.
Indeed, I do believe this is their first appearance on Solo Prime 1. I do agree with you there. But yeah, Awp has been a great member of the community, a big volunteer here on the weekly restreams. If you've been watching our Echoes weekly restreams, and Prime for that matter, you've seen Awp at work. So it's great to see both of our runners here today. And again, they're going to put on a great show for you. Now, what are you hoping to see in the seat today?
Route divergence, taking some different pathways, getting some different items. Those are always kind of fascinating to watch. But yeah, I'm always up for a little bit of trolling if Randomizer is feeling spicy tonight.
Indeed. Now, earlier this afternoon, we in our first seed, one thing I will say is we didn't see a whole lot of mines. I would like to see a bit of mines today.
Yeah. Yeah, not too many seats we see a much progression in mines. You'll often end up, in there looking for phase-on suit. It would be kind of fun if there was a beam or a required ball upgrade or supers or something in there. It's an actual required progression.
Indeed, and we are off, folks. So first order of business is the good old space jump first. Legendary trick in Prime 1. But yeah, so
seen a lot of this week with the odd weekly settings.
Yeah, so we should go over that real quick for those who may have not attended the match earlier today. So a bit of a rundown of how the tournament's going to go here is we are starting with 6 rounds of Swiss, which each round will take a week to perform, with the exception of this round because we are allowing runners an extra week in order to partake in any affairs related to Summer Games Done Quick. I know one of our runners, Bash Prime, is currently there. I believe that was a suit under the ship.
Great look at it from Emerald's side. Awp looks like they're gonna go take a peek here as well. It's hard to kind of see from this side. Yeah, gonna loop around.
Yeah, it's definitely a suit. It was a big white vertical line.
That sure looks like our Varia.
Certainly not going to say no to that, but no missiles means we can't check artifact hints right away, so our only option is to venture into Chozo. But here's the thing, Space Jump already gives us 3 items in Main Plaza, so there is already plenty to do over there.
Yep, not surprised we must find a missile, maybe even a morph ball. Gosh, morph would be... extremely early Varia suits are difficult to route sometimes. Especially, you end up wanting, if you want to go into Magmore chasing that Varia suit, but you don't have any explosives yet, you can't get through Lava Lake. And that means you're either going in from the Chozo side and you only have 1 check, or you're going in from the other side and it's a long walk back if you can't push all the way through by the time you're getting to Lava Lake area.
And indeed, we find our missile launcher in the half pipe. I believe that was a Metroid on Grapple Ledge, and that's an energy tank in Vault Ledge. Is this mostly even randomized?
Yeah, we will take an early E-Tank, though. Especially dealing with these scarabs, can move through these rooms much more comfortably. You're never really going to take that, like more than an E-Tank of damage, unless you're really careless with your movement, but it can be pretty easy to lose about 100 health.
Ah, yes, the 3 most dangerous things in Chozo Ruins: scarabs, beetles, and bees.
Just a missile on the nursery ledge. No need to come back for that. We are leaving one check behind here in Ruined Gallery. Come back with Morphin bombs for that.
Yeah, that could bite our runners in the backside later if it ends up being required, because if anybody saw the Prime Weekly on Sunday afternoon, they know that that was actually an important location, but bombs were late to the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's pretty out of the way to ever come back here, and it's only one check. And bombs usually opens up a ton of things, so it can kind of depend sometimes on if you think you have like an execution advantage over your opponent, or if you think the seed's been going better for you routing wise, that you can kind of spare the time to go do it. But if you think you might be behind or need to make up some time through execution, that's a fairly common skip, and I think a pretty reasonable one.
All right, well, we have an interesting hive totem. We got a grapple beam, but no morph ball, so we're going to have to backtrack out and come back to this later. But logical missiles gives us access to shrine. We can peek the item up at the top of the half pipe. We can also go back and check artifact hints, or go to actually, we can't go to Frigate Crash Site.
Yeah, we've got Transfer Tunnel B, Artifact Temple, and Lower Ruined Shrine. I don't hate not even bothering to check Ruined Shrine here. I would personally take the save warp here, which appears to be what Awp is doing. I agree with this play. Emerald, on the other hand, is presumably heading for this Ruined Shrine, which, it can be a vanilla morph ball. But I'm somewhat happy to last location a morph ball here, just because then I have morph and I'm in Chozo anyways. And this is it sucks having to kind of double or triple dip this room. Okay, that might be worth though.
I mean, it's not morph ball, but it's something morph ball can definitely be used, can definitely get a good power up from. That is main power bombs in Ruined Shrine. The only thing in Prime that glows like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's always fun when it's somewhere like in the tree, or my personal favorite is Research Lab Aether, the upper item, because you just see it glowing through the floor as soon as you enter the room.
Indeed. See, unfortunately, EmeraldPie not getting any speed advantages from picking up those main power bombs, so Awp will probably happily route those in on his trip back.
It does make an interesting point. Specking Morph Ball here in Ruined Shrine is better in this seed than usual, given that we are immediately going to want to make the play to the ship as soon as we find it. So it's a bit awkward if you do last location the morph and then have to go save warp back to Talon. Luckily for Awp, did not come to pass. May have been a actual routing mistake I might have made. I don't know. It's all arguable at this point. Interesting. So that is already Root Cave access.
Interesting.
I would not be at all surprised by Morph Ball at Root Cave at this point.
Yeah, we could have Morph Ball and Root Cave. Plasma Beam for Arbor Chamber would be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm always happy when that shows up early. It really kind of simplifies some of the routing. Because Plasma has the most kind of troll locations that it can be out of any beam. Just based on if it's the last beam you're looking for anyways.
Indeed.
How much Wave and Ice open up together.
All right, while we're waiting for Awp and Emerald to continue on this conga line through the same path for the moment, let's go back to, let's kind of backtrack a little bit, going back to our tournament discussion earlier. So we didn't really get a chance to bring up for anybody who might be new to Metroid Prime Randomizer what's going on here. And what's happening here is all of the items in the game have been shuffled amongst their normal item locations. So our goal here is to get to the impact crater and defeat Metroid Prime Essence, and then our runners can hit the dot done. To do this, for these settings this week, they must get all the artifacts, which in this case they only need 6. You can customize on the randomizer how many you need, anywhere from 0 to 12, and for our first week settings, we're going with 6. So they need to get 6 artifacts. They need to get phase on suit so they can actually damage the final boss. And unless they want to do a really nasty out of bounds and impact crater, they basically need all beams.
Exactly. Plus potentially any other items that are required to pick up the
I
artifact.
don't call this trash on purpose, you know.
I mean, honestly, I'm perfectly happy with that. Like, that's just the logic chain giving me a free plasma beam when I was just expecting to get more fall up here, so I will take an extra plasma beam. So yeah, good play from up here, following the chain, getting rewarded.
Story of my year.
But yeah, now you're in this tricky situation here. You can go back, get your you get this check, you get your Varia suit, and now what?
Okay, I'll take that comedy. We're validated now.
Wow. Well, we can already use flamethrower 8 minutes in. That is not common. It would last all of like 2 seconds with 15 missiles, but I guess you could do that if you wanted.
Well, anyway, so our runners now, yeah, the whole early game is pretty much open to them. With main power bombs, they can go through Lava Lake and proceed deeper into Magmore. Though it looks like Awp is electing to pass Varia suit.
Interesting. Hopefully they remember that it's still down there, because I think this is still a good time to pick it up. So yeah, actually, this ends up being really nice for EmeraldPie if they do decide to go straight into Magmore. It probably works out well for Awp that they're making this play, and presumably are going to find these power bombs before they head into Magmore for the same reason. Because yeah, it really sucks to have to turn around in Triclops Pit if you head down that way.
That's actually a good point, because Awp doesn't have power bombs, so... Oh, I think he also might have just remembered the Varia suit, but wants to get that first now. I think had a little bit of a... indecision moment there.
It's so easy to forget that. The behind the ship item. But better now than later. So yeah, Runner's going to be kind of tied up here. Aside from Emerald, having advantage of those power bombs.
I still think the play to Chozo is better here, because with power bombs, there's still a lot you can do in Chozo, minus go to Flagra. And with Varia suit and grapple in tow, we already have easy access to Magma Pool.
Personally, I think the play... Magma Pool is an interesting check. Personally, I think I would do Twin Fires all the way to Chozo through Lava Lake. With the way the randomizer places items, you're going to have a significantly higher chance each check that was opened up by whatever the last thing in the logic chain was. And sometimes that can be hard to follow because the seed might not do that and might have like several things then in kind of blur the same sphere of checks. But in this case, this was a very linear logic chain where we can like know that Varia is the last thing we've logically been given.
All right, so it looks like Emerald accidentally zipped a little too far past the item here in... oh, hello.
Interesting gravity suit. That is in logic with grapple.
I think Space Jump and Scan Dash is enough in this logic as well.
I think so as well, yeah.
Yeah, because our trick difficulty is set to... Most tricks are set to beginner or otherwise disabled, and that beginner tricks include Scan Dashing, Knowledge, and like Open Gates from Behind, just to name a couple.
That is interesting gravity. It doesn't do anything for us right now. So that's one of those when I pick it up, I'm like, why is this here?
Indeed.
Like, was it from a later sphere that just happened to dump early? Was it never logically placed and it just got dumped somewhere randomly at the end? Or is there some implication here that I'm missing?
All very good questions, for sure. So yeah, looks like we're going to see the divergence you had requested here. We're going to see Emerald go into Magmore and Awp go back into Chozo.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I like this. Now, from Awp's perspective, I like going back into Chozo a bit more without having any explosives. But in Emerald's, because of it exactly having the power bomb. So I actually like both of these plays on both sides. I think the power bombs are a good reason to come to Magmore here.
Indeed, and Awp will actually be able to check 2 additional items in Shrine courtesy of Morph Ball.
Yeah,
that Emerald could not do.
So yeah, we could end up with very different item sets, which is exactly what I was kind of hoping for, because they can tend to make for some pretty interesting races. Now, I don't think either runner actually took a look at their artifact hints yet. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
No, they haven't checked their hints. And typically we won't see runners check their hints right away because at this point they're kind of bottlenecked into one specific route. So they might as well wait until they have choices in deciding where to go. And at that point, route the artifacts accordingly. And that's typically what we see.
Nice refund there.
You think we got enough power bombs?
So now Awp still has a decision to make here. Could make the mid Chozo play, go to Watery Hall, we have a bunch of checks over that way. Or if they're also feeling the call of the Magmore, this isn't a terrible time to dip in the Lava Lake and do Magmore in the reverse direction either. I'm kind of curious to see which way to go.
All right, we're gonna get a look at what's in the tree here, and it is missiles.
Oh, Wave Beam. Where was that?
That is
Warrior Shrine?
Yeah, Warrior Shrine. So that's free. Actually, technically, no. I don't think Space Jump Scan Dash is expected in this difficulty. I think that's locked by...
It is actually now recently been moved to beginner. That dash did used to be intermediate, but it is now beginner.
Never mind. I was initially going to say that was Boost Ball locked, but that's what I get for not reading the updated settings. And we are going to see that Magma Pool dip, which has an energy tank, which I don't think Awp's going to say no to. Energy tanks are actually pretty important in Prime.
So now I'm actually very suspicious of Tower Chamber. That is one of the few things that Gravity Suit actually logically does for us early. Even though the slope jump is like generally pretty straightforward for most folks that have tried it, pretty sure it is not in beginner logic to get out of that item without gravity.
This is getting kind of ridiculous. We have a lot of items. We haven't even seen our artifact hints. Is that another super combo? Oh, never mind.
This Magmore play is paying off like crazy. Okay.
Yeah, now we're going to see our artifact hints because now EmeraldPie's got some options. So let's see what we have here. We have Fungal Hall Access, Ventilation Shaft, Watery Hall, Elite Quarters, Antechamber, and Sun Chamber. We have 2 bosses required today, folks.
Amazing.
Looks like we both get our wishes. I get my Lower Minds, you get your Divergence.
So what are we looking for then?
We are looking for Ice Beam, Phazon Suit, Spider Ball wouldn't go amiss. We already have X-Ray Visor. I don't think we need Super Missiles.
Yeah, don't think we need supers, don't think we need boost.
Well, not at least not immediately. The wild card is still Phazon Suit, of course.
Indeed. Awp gonna be stumbling on one of these artifacts right here. Oh, interesting. Scanning the gate and then going to the lower item, which we can get easily with this gravity suit. EmeraldPie gonna do this lava lake check. I'm curious which way you go from here too. Bombs did open up a lot in Chozo, but they also did open up the shorelines area with this plasma beam we've got. Yeah, looks like turning around. So we're gonna see the Fendrana play, and the divergence will continue.
Yeah, that item that you saw there, the glitch Metroid texture, for those not familiar, that is a nothing item. It literally does nothing but adds 1% to your file because we had to put something there. We refer to them as Notroids.
Yep, there's a number of rooms in the game, such as like after defeating most bosses, where if you don't pick up their item, the doors are still locked. So to make sure that you can actually unlock the doors, there's always going to be some pickup that spawns, even if we're not trying to give you an item.
Indeed, there are 7 Notroids in this pool because not only do we have 6 artifacts removed, but our runners are also starting with Charge Beam because that just makes life easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of bosses that are real bad to fight without Charge Beam.
Imagine fighting Chozo Ghost and Sun Chamber with no Charge Beam.
Oh no! Yep, that's 100 pellets each. That's a lot of work for your trigger finger there.
Yeah, not a good time.
I'm taking the save. I wonder if this is going to be a PONR Zoid check. We can at least get both of the items with Power Bombs able to open up the back item. But yeah, not going to be able to get out unless Unless this is boost and Op goes for the wall boosts, but those aren't terribly fun.
Indeed.
I really find them so much easier in Echoes. The camera I just feel like is a lot more cooperative in places, where in Prime you're doing it in 3D spaces a lot more. It's a lot harder to manage.
So yeah, Awp is going to have to get boost here if he wants to get out of this without having to do a reset, which thankfully it won't be a big deal if this ends up being nothing, because then you're back at the save station anyway. But we're seeing EmeraldPie make our first dip into Phendrana, an area that we really didn't see a whole lot of earlier today.
Yeah, pretty much just a Shorelines area, and we're able to leave. With these items, we can... Actually can't do anything in labs yet. We don't have supers for Hydro. We don't logically have boost for Observatory. Now, I expect that both these runners are capable of the Observatory Scan Dash, which means we could go all the way through labs if we wanted. Not sure I feel that's a great play at this point.
Yeah, the nice thing about Plasma early, though, is that early Phendrana has a lot of ice-based checks, so being able to check Ice Ruins West and East right away is really nice.
And yeah, we didn't have any artifacts in labs, if I'm remembering correctly. If there was an artifact in labs, then maybe I just get it out of the way now, in case Ice Beam was in Research Core like it loves to be.
Yeah, I don't think there was.
Nothing here in Ice Ruins East. 2 more checks out towards Ice Ruins West, as well as 2 more checks in Chozo Ice Temple.
Yeah, that's true. With Wave and Plasma, we could get Ice Temple and Chapel.
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to get both of those out of the way at once. Nothing in the Lighthouse either. Let's see if Awp gets anything here from Zoid. Oh, just a pair of missiles, I believe.
And there's the reset. So yeah, not particularly costly in the time department, thankfully. Unfortunately, yeah, it looks like at the moment, it does look like EmeraldPie chose the correct route here based on what the seed was expecting. But we shall see. The Phazon Suit Hunt can literally be the great equalizer.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, we're still only sitting on 1 energy tank, and we're starting to get into the mid-late game areas, so you gotta watch your health here, especially. I don't know if Emerald saved ever. So do have to be a little bit careful. Alright, what's up? Choosing to do now. They are not save warping, so I'm wondering if this might be a Lava Lake play through Magmore, which actually will end up working out pretty well. We'll grab the bombs before getting in here.
All right, well, Emerald did pick up another energy tank in Ice Temple, so definitely looking forward to that. Now, we should also note that there is damage resistance attached to the suits as well. Actually, really, the only game where suit damage resistance isn't a thing is Echoes, but yeah, on we have progressive damage resistance scaling. That is a... What is that? Is that... Oh, it's boost.
Oh, okay. Now, that probably baits me into labs. I think it's hard not to do labs here. After finding that boost.
Yeah, boost is really good here.
And gosh, yeah, I mean, if labs ends up being Ice Beam, then, like, yeah, this, like, seed really just kind of handheld all the progression, like, in kind of a bad... I mean, granted, you had to follow the... You had to follow the Varia into Magmore, yes, because the mid Chozo play was available too that EmeraldPie didn't take a look at.
Hey, Chad, you want to see a boss get utterly annihilated?
Bye-bye. Yep, boost. Pretty good item. Saves time in a lot of rooms, saves a lot of time against Ridley. Opens a few checks up for us as well. I'm always pretty happy to find it.
But yeah, going back on the suit damage spiel for a second here. So our damage resistance is progressive. So whichever suit, however many suits you've picked up is your damage resistance scaling. So it's 10% for 1 suit, 20 for 2, 50 for 3. But now 2 suits does give us a good 20%, which is nice. Not particularly cozy, but still better than absolutely nothing. And it also does apply to Magmor heat damage, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that saved me. I think I was running vanilla and spiked a face on suit and a hell run. It actually kept me alive. And yeah, I am also partial to vanilla suit damage, just to give Phazon some actual like value to you when you pick it up early.
I can see that.
I'm gonna be kind of following behind here. I don't think really spiked anything interesting in Chozo that Emerald was missing, aside from the artifact in Watery Hall, which is a little bit out of the way, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if the seeds ends up being really linear from here. Now, was anything else in Chozo? No,
I don't think so. No. Yeah, Antechamber and Far Chozo, but that should be pretty easy to route in. Like, you can go from like Far Chozo to Life Grove or something. Just improvise with that.
Antechamber. I actually really like Antechamber Artifact because it means I know that it's not Vanilla Ice Beam. Because that's such a long pathway for like a couple checks. But sometimes like that's your Ice Beam, and you're always worrying about it when you're knee deep in the pirate labs, hoping to find something to bail you out. So that is actually pretty nice knowledge.
All right, missiles in Ice Ruins West. Now, the nice thing about Awp getting bombs when he is that he'll be able to actually check the item in Upper Fiery Shores. EmeraldPie was not able to do this because bombs were after the Warrior Shrine check.
That's a good point.
In their route. So we'll see if this ends up giving Awp a bit of a break here. If this ends up being a lucky Ice Beam, maybe even a Spider Ball. Now I'm trying to think if we can get to Thardus with this equipment. Logically, we would still need either Super Missiles and Thermal Visor for the front, or we need to be able to get to Workstation, which we currently can't do.
We can, actually. So one of the other things gravity does for us is let you just take a little lava bath in Twin Fire's tunnel and jump out, and that is in Beginner.
Never mind.
So that's another interesting. So that could point you sometimes towards something like a Quarantine Monitor. That is actually perfectly in logic right now. Thardus and Workstation itself are going to be thermal locked, although we can pretty easily do either of those checks.
Yeah, and with Grapple, we can get out pretty fast, too, if ends up not being a vanilla Spider Ball. That being said, I think we had Awp as a debut race it was either 2022 or 2021. I can't remember which. But we had bombs on Thardus.
Yeah, that's a pretty trash bombs location. And that's when you actually like start to want Thermal Visor, because you can't skip all the thermal phases like you can with the bomb fight. So yeah, I'm going to fall into Shorelines here. I think that's a good play. But I have a good feeling about this Lapse play, honestly, from EmeraldPie. I would not be too surprised to see an Ice Beam here. In which case, I think EmeraldPie is still in pretty dang good shape this race.
I would agree, because right now, it's a double-edged sword. On one end, Awp hasn't found anything in Chozo, but Emerald also hasn't found really much of anything in Phendrana, except Boost Ball.
Mm-hmm. But Awp's gonna make all these shoreline checks. They're gonna find the boost, and at that point, it's hard to. Oh, that was a missile. Okay. At that point, it's kind of hard to not do this Labs play too. So honestly, even if I suppose Labs is nothing, I think EmeraldPie is probably ahead. Just because I expect Awp is going to route Phendrana pretty much the same as Emerald has.
Indeed.
Alright. See the Observatory Dash, always a fun trick. Not quite. You bully a little bit by the pirates there.
Should be noted.
Okay.
Go on.
It's an annoying double-edged sword with these pirates, because if you leave them alive, they can bully you, but if you kill them, you get to watch a stupid cutscene. I guess the second try. Very nice.
Yeah. It should be noted that there is a bit of a split in these two for their seeding. Awp is seeded 12th, EmeraldPie is seeded 31st. Now, granted, this is typically how Swiss goes. Because EmeraldPie doesn't have any tournament standings for Prime 1 specifically, I think, and I think we also take race time scores into account. EmeraldPie was seeded a lot lower.
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, they've been showing pretty good movement, execution, and some trick execution. I'm pretty impressed actually. I don't think I got to watch too many of their races from CGC. That definitely looks like they have they put their practice in.
But yeah, this is quite typical that we'll see a large discrepancy in seeding for round 1 specifically, and then once we get into rounds 2 and especially 3, the races will then be determined by win-loss ratio. So it sort of sorts itself out as things go. Very nice dash from Awp to get to Ice Temple.
Pie dodging the fight trigger here in Control Tower. There's a little box right outside the door, but there's just enough room to squeeze out of the door and jump up and over the box to avoid locking the doors and having to fight a bunch of pirates here.
Yeah, what's really nice is that this trick still works in Trilogy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works in Trilogy. Same with jumping over same with hitting the missile switch there. Oh, does it also work in Remastered? That's really nice. And I believe we're going to see Prime 1 Remastered done at SGDQ this Friday, question mark? Yeah, Friday.
Ooh, I'm excited for that. I was following a little bit of the speedrun stuff right when it came out, but I am very curious to see how it's developed in the previous months.
For one thing, it's certainly going to look good.
Yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Highly, especially for anyone who didn't play Prime 1 back in the day. I think the remaster was very faithful to the game, did an amazing job with the art and environments. Just, yeah. And it's still a good game that holds up today, in my opinion. So highly recommend checking it out if you're at all interested.
Hello, Edward. Bye, Edward.
Alright, running out of options here in labs for this ice beam. We have this, one more down here. Nope. It's research core left.
Interestingly, EmeraldPie not picking up that energy tank.
I'd be feeling comfy at 3. After 3, starts to feel a little later. That one being so easy, I probably would have gone for it, but after a certain point, another E-tank. Wow, it wasn't labs. I'm shocked, actually.
All right, yeah, Emerald's going to go ahead and reset back to... This should reset them back to Observatory. If not, I'm pretty sure they saved in Shoreline. But yeah, there was literally nothing so far in Phendrana after boost.
Yeah, so now I'm back to this gravity suit. We still haven't done anything with it. So I begin to get curious if Tower Chamber, like I mentioned a while ago, was the answer, or potentially using the gravity to get to Quarantine Monitor. I think those are probably our two highest sort of percentage chance of being a major right now. Now, Emerald, the Qmon play I think is pretty tough to sell at this point because it's one check versus heading back to Chozo. EmeraldPie has a gazillion checks in Chozo now that they are back with explosives. So I would expect Chozo here, which I think would be a good play. So we'll see how they're... Be curious to see what they're thinking at this point too, because yeah, it does suck when you go into labs and don't get anything. Personally, I would be feeling like my opponent had to have made this play too. Like, you find boost in Phendrana, you're probably going to labs. So I'm not really necessarily feeling behind here or anything. Now, it's always possible your opponent got redded, but you can't necessarily play against that.
Yeah, certainly the downside as well is that with the seed providing the same sort of inklings, if you will, for progression, it's not making it easy for Awp to catch up here to Emerald.
Yeah, I mean, I think Labs is a good play. Like, it's not going to work, but I would expect to see it from Awp, and I don't think it's a bad play, but the answer must be somewhere else.
Yeah, as far as I'm thinking this through, it's either in. My gut tells me Tower of Light. It's been getting more and more busy lately with progression.
Yeah, no, definitely with a new like multi-pickup placement and actually being able to access that with missiles. And that's a hard one to read. Like, it's hard to tell if like the seed was trying to put a bunch of missiles in your path, or if like you just ran into a bunch of missiles because they happened to be in the checks you did.
We certainly did run into a bunch of missiles.
Yeah, 55 I think on both sides.
Actually, Emerald's is a bit lower. I think it's only 40.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Up found a bunch in Chozo, right.
But yeah, let's see. Tower Chamber is an energy tank, which again, we won't say no to.
Ugh, my brain's washed up. Everything I'm thinking is incorrect. So with all the knowledge I have, I'm starting to be suspicious of Quarantine Monitor, but I think finishing up Chozo makes a good amount of sense here. Now, it could still always be something stupid like Ruined Gallery. I don't think either runner went back for that with bombs.
Hey, Phazon Suit, what are you doing in Tower of Light?
That is a good find.
That's a great find. We're literally just an ice beam away from go mode.
Yeah, that's right. We'd like to have Spider, unless you're comfortable with the Spiderless MQA strats. That's really it. Yeah. Really that one trick.
Again, I don't call this on purpose. Like, I that was just literally an educated guess, but... So, Ice Beam Go Mode is a peculiar scenario we have here. That basically locks out the entirety of Mines minus Main Quarry. Actually, no. We need Ice for main to get through to Main Quarry anyway, so...
Yeah, we have very little left in Fendrana. We have Quarantine Monitor, and then if we get Thermal, we have Artis.
We can't get to far Fendrana without Ice Beam either.
Yep.
So
yeah, things we can do in Far Chozo that I think we haven't seen.
So yeah, it's either there's a couple things we could do in Far Chozo. Like, we can get to Hall of the Elders through Crossway and stuff.
Actually, maybe nothing in. I don't actually think anything in Far Chozo is in Logic without Spider or Ice.
We didn't see Lower Furnace. I don't think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Because Awp turned around without bombs. Okay, so Lower Furnace is accessible.
But yeah, this is looking really good for EmeraldPie, because that drastically limits the, again, because the number of places that Ice Beam could be are now so drastically reduced, it's unlikely that we're going to see any chance for Awp to diverge and possibly sneak ahead here. But now, that being said, again, things could still change. Like, for all we know, it could be a Workstation. And diving Chozo again is a waste of time. We never saw Training Chamber access or Training Chamber.
Yep, I suspect Emerald is hidden there right now. I don't hate getting Flogger out of the way right now either, particularly if you're comfortable with early Wild, in case there's some crazy stupid chain for Supers and Spider to get the Ice Beam on Ghost.
Actually, if the artifact is on Ghost, that's going to be a little weird.
Ooh, that is awkward. Yeah.
Because, logically speaking, that means we need Supers and Spider. But let's see what Training Chamber access is here. This has been in play for a hot minute.
Fireball away from this item, but we can get a visual check through the door. Just a missile.
Alright, so nothing of importance in the Training Chamber neighborhood. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Yeah, we are running out of checks here.
So yeah, we've got a couple checks in Farchozo. We know it's not Vanilla Ice Beam. We've got Workstation. We've got Overgrown. How is friggin' Crash Site handled in Logic? Is that expected with this equipment?
Climbing it is not expected, and also doing anything else interesting there requires Ice Beam at this point.
Okay, so it can't be Overgrown Cavern.
Nope.
Mines is literally locked out.
So yeah, I think it's Lower Furnace. It's Quarantine Monitor. It's Sun Chamber and the Artifact is on Ghost. Is that it?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of places where this Ice Beam can be.
Oh no, we haven't. No, Awp had PDs, so we saw Lower Dynamo. That's right.
Yes, we didn't see Upper Dynamo because Spider Ball is still MIA. But yes, we saw lower Dynamo.
We don't have Upper Furnace without Spider. Getting that item without Spider is awful and not in Logic.
All right, that's Emerald picking up the Watery Hall artifact.
It's going to be fun if the next progression is Thermal, though. At least that tells you where you need to go. Thermal on Qmon. I mean, yeah.
Well, if it's Thermal, I mean, yeah, that puts Thardus into play. That's fair.
I'm pretty sure a practice race some of us did recently was exactly Thermal on Qmon for Ice Beam on Thardus. It's just like, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, we already had Plasma Beam in Root Cave for Morph Ball on Arbor Chamber, so.
Yeah. Alright, so EmeraldPie gets the one artifact out of Watery Hall. If you're at all comfortable with Early Wild, I like doing Sun Chamber now, and then just hopefully never having to come back to Chozo.
I think we're gonna see
that.
But
I guess, yeah, no, we need to do Zoid, because we haven't ruled out all these checks on Emerald's side that for being not Ice Beam, so I think this makes sense.
Yeah, they're gonna do Zoid and Lower Furnace first, and then do the rest accordingly.
Okay.
Now that gives Awp a hot minute to.
Yeah.
This does give Awp a hot minute to catch up here.
Yeah, it starts to be hard to tell actually who's going to be ahead or behind. Probably by the time Zoid is done, Awp could be at around that Ruined Shrine cleanup if they head that way immediately.
Yeah, so it's funny, I was saying how Phazon Suit's usually the great equalizer. This seed, of all things, it's going to be Ice Beam.
Yeah. And then at that point, it just kind of comes down to an execution battle. We still have a decent, like, even once we find the Ice Beam, we have a decent amount of game left. We got a decent amount of mines we got to do. I cannot keep these artifacts in my head.
Well, like half of them are in lower mines. Okay. Yeah,
and then
Fungal Hall.
We have to go back to.
Yeah. So yeah, literally half of them are in lower mines, Flagra and Vanilla Ice. That's it.
Man. I wonder. I would have the non-zero tempted. Like, if you're comfortable with, if you are comfortable with Early Wild, I actually really like doing Flagra before you came here and just powering all the way through into Antechamber, because you're going to get a visual look at every check on the way that could be Ice Beam. You can lock pick the Antechamber item with a power bomb and then leave and never come back to Chozo. And that feels pretty strong to me. Versus now for Emerald, you're gonna, at this point, whichever way you go, you're walking away from one of your artifacts.
Right.
And yeah, the ship is locked by XP on both sides, unfortunately. So yeah, we will not be seeing Frigate at all this sea. There's really no reason to ever go there.
Yeah. We got to see our Fendrana in lower mines, although Fendrana was pretty barren, besides Boost Ball.
Yeah, and not really going to see upper mines today either, with all the artifacts being lower.
Ooh, Op showing us a standable terrain method for climbing Tower of Light. Interesting.
This room in Frigate Crash Site, I feel like everybody has a slightly different way of doing it, which I enjoy.
Unfortunately, he fell down halfway, but is still able to improvise. Oh no, that's going to be a full fall.
Okay, so Emerald did get our lower furnace check. That was one of our 3 options for Ice Beam, and it was not hit. See if they turn around here. I don't hate at least going to do the visual check of upper furnace, because that could be Ice Beam if Spider is somewhere else. Similarly with Crossway, while you're out here, it might be decent to go check it. And if you're comfortable with a Power Bomb lockpick, it's a little slow to go pick up like a bee. I don't know. I don't know if it's slower to pick it up now, or do it after a save warp by doing a Frigate Crash Site climb.
Morph ball, please. There we go.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye at this, which is very good. At the very least, hopefully, if they don't.
Let me look at that on the playback for a minute.
Emerald's interested. There are not many things I think Emerald would be interested in here. You don't have Spider though.
I think it's either Ice Beam or Ice Spreader. I think it's ice related. So, hunt for the ball upgrades now, yeah?
Yeah, I guess so. Let me make a clip here, try to see again here.
All right, Crossway is missiles.
Oh, that sure looked like Ice Beam up there.
Ugh. I mean, you can get that without Spider Ball, but that requires some... Actually, no. Getting that without Spider Ball is, like, super bad.
Oh, that's a rude... Yeah, I've done that once in a multi-world, and I was using save states. It is... I would not be doing that in a race.
Although Spider Ball being before Ice Beam just makes it so that there's even less locations where progression could be.
Yeah, at this point, I mean... At this point, it's just on Quarantine Monitor, yeah? Unless Thermal's there. I think that's the only check we hadn't ruled out at this point.
I think so.
Super awkward. Oh man, this is really good trick for, or a really good seed for knowing Spiderless Upper Furnace, because that is a long bad track. Op does get the climb, gets that phase on soon, nicely done.
Yeah, it took a little more time than I think he would have preferred, but it definitely was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's at this time that he's going to check his hints and realize, uh-oh, half of them are in lower mines. I believe he's just taking an extra minute to write these down.
Yeah. I enjoy in Echoes that, like, you have the time of scanning them between when you're reading them, because that gives me enough time to kind of scroll one of my hands while I'm scanning the other one. In Prime, I'm, like, losing time and trying to write these down, whereas in Echoes, I can kind of do it without losing time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's see if EmeraldPie decides to lockpick the artifacts here, which I would wager they're going to do. So what you're going to see here... Well, maybe... I think okay.
A save is prudent. I don't think they've saved at all.
Yeah, this is definitely a good move because no, it's a save warp.
Interesting. Okay. Honestly, that doesn't lose a ton of time. It's not that slow to come back to Antechamber via Overground Tunnel or Overground Cavern.
Yeah, because Ice Beam has to show up next, eventually.
Yeah. Oh no, we do have 2 possibilities. It could still be on plant if the artifact is. It could be Spider Ball on plant actually.
Honestly, that's
somewhere random.
That's fairly probable because Spider Ball would give us Ice Beam.
Yep.
And then, if Ice Beam is logically locking supers, that's trash.
So yeah, I don't really like leading Chozo without checking plant. Like, worst case you get an artifact, best case you get progression. I guess worst case is it's nothing. The artifact's on Ghost and you can't do really well. So I guess that is a fair worst case if you're afraid of that to want to avoid. So it is somewhat dependent on your comfort with the early wild trick.
Yeah, and this is something that typically happens with a lot of front-loaded seeds, is that the hunt for the last item, depending on how wide open, depending on what that locks, that could just spell doom.
I love that. I love that chain nine. A nice all major bosses seed.
I mean, yeah, because Thardus, we haven't ruled out Thardus, and we've already got the other two required.
Supers need to be somewhere. We don't need supers unless it's Sun Chamber Ghost. I don't think anything else needed supers.
No, nothing else needed supers.
Unless you're talking just like metaphysically in that the seed had to have put them somewhere, which is true. They do exist somewhere. But at that point, they could actually be locking themselves in like Hydra or something if they weren't actually needed.
I think the only place they can be locking themselves is either MQB or bioenergy, biohazard containment. Since we already saw the other two.
That's right. We saw Hydra was just a missile.
Yeah, that early X-ray is really helpful for just finding stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I do think it is very worth learning. For anyone not already familiar, I think it's worth learning how to peek the tree. Just because being able to not have that come over your head if you find supers like outside Chozo is pretty nice. You can manipulate the camera to get a look inside the tree even without X-ray.
yeah, so at this point we are going to see EmeraldPie go for the workstation play, and yeah, this is pretty much actually all we can do. So
yeah, unless it was progression on plant and artifact on ghosts, this has to be the answer, and it'll be ideally just spider so we can be done, or if it's we're going up. Going up.
Going up Fiery. This is Fiery Shores, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious as to this play.
That's the only thing I can think of is that this is a regretting leaving Kalagra behind and wanting to go back for it.
This is very interesting. This could
Yeah,
this,
I mean,
it's going to take a few minutes for Emerald to turn around.
Yeah, if I'll go straight to Kalagra after like scouting up her furnace, then this gets close, very close. And at that point, yeah, there's actually nothing separating them anymore. I think they will have done all the same checks as each other.
Pretty much.
Now, did I missed on offside if Awp went back for gallery tunnel? Entering?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So then, yeah, I think we'll be in a level playing field checks wise.
Yeah, based on that energy tank count, that's a fairly safe wager. Something that we didn't really comment on, that something else is a nice feature of the randomizer, is altering the suit and HUD colors, and we've seen that from both runners. We get a nice little sort of twitch purple from EmeraldPie and sort of teal from Awp.
Yeah, Chef points out early wild is very important. It's very interesting here. Like if plant has an item and you can't do early wild, if plant has, say, thermal, I guess, and you can't do early wild, you've now forced yourself to get supers to finish the seed. Like, we know spider is coming, so if you theoretically could have waited to do plant until you had spider, then you get a free early wild. And you're definitely getting the artifact no matter what. So that could be part of the reason for putting this off. My gut feel is that Flogger has spider. Maybe not. Maybe it is just chilling it. I think no, it's stick with good.
Yeah, because Spider Ball by itself wouldn't do us any good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need Spider Ball anyway, but if Quarantine Monitor is Ice Beam, then Spider Ball can be virtually anywhere, actually.
Awp is pressing on 2. I don't like this play if you're not going for the lockpick. So we'll see if Awp attempts it.
Gets the standable terrain very nicely done.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're getting confirmation as well in the booth by our trackers that it was definitely Ice Beam in Upper Furnace, so...
Very interesting. That's a rude spot. And yeah, Awp also not going for the spiderless strat. I mean, it's bad. There's probably a few people in this tournament that would like reasonably comfortably go for it. They wouldn't be happy about it. No one's happy about that, but I think there are some folks that would be a little bit Awp quitting.
What happened there?
Just a save reset there. So they might have just remembered that it can't be Vanilla Ice. If maybe they were thinking Vanilla Ice and wanted to make a play for it. Then yeah, if you're not going to go for the lockpick, yeah, there really is no point in going that way, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Where did they save?
35 minutes in-game time in Chozo. I can't imagine he's lost any vital equipment.
Alright, we have phase on.
Yeah, okay. And there wasn't any progression since, so yeah, he's missed nothing of importance.
So it looks like, yeah, we made a Gathering Hall save before making Energy Core did, so.
That's actually not that's not a bad save reset spot, because now Awp can either go straight to Flagra or, well, I think at this point, yeah, he's preparing for Flagra.
Oh, getting trolled by the Tangle lead there. Argon is going to scan the things rather than going for the bomb jump. You can do a trick to skip this little scanning puzzle, but it really doesn't cost you too much time to do the vanilla strats.
Oh, right, the cutscene's disabled. I looked at that and I was like, did the game glitch? But it did not. Yeah, we have like a sort of competitive cutscene removal, so anything that like shows doors opening or something of that nature, that is not anything. That's a burger. Sorry, an orange sea urchin. Okay,
wow. So this is a very important early wild trick on both sides. We're gonna come up and see. If either runner pulls this off, I think they are actually like significantly ahead. Otherwise, EmeraldPie is ahead of exactly a Flagra fight. As Awp is entering the room as Emerald leaves.
Quite peculiar. This is... So yeah, Ghost has to be the artifact. So that means, yeah, that means also logically we're looking for super missiles, but Emerald's not even going to attempt it. Wow,
you know,
okay.
I don't know if we've seen Vault on either side now I think about it.
We've seen Vault. Vault was an energy tank.
Okay. Looked like EmeraldPie actually hadn't, though. I don't see these rooms. Yeah, the Vault's not lit up on Emerald's map.
Yeah, well, Awp took a swing by earlier.
Okay. So, yeah, now there's really nothing but Quarantine Monitor. So we'll find a spider there, or a thermal leading to a spider.
So yeah, let's see if Awp does early wild here, because if Awp pulls off early wild, that's going to be a big break, because then he doesn't have to make this backtrack later. Because this is going to be a bit of an awkward backtrack now for EmeraldPie.
I generally agree with that, Audra, but like at this point you have two checks. It was like the Flagra that you were right next to, or going all the way to Cumon. Like, if the answer was just Spider here on Flagra and you don't do it now, you're, like, so far behind. But yeah, no, this could be very awkward for EmeraldPie now. I almost... Oh, gosh. Did they save before the Flagra fight? I, like, almost wonder if you should, like, revert your save here.
the last save from Emerald was Antechamber. And actually, no, that wasn't a save. That was a warp. I don't think Emerald definitely hasn't saved in the last 20 minutes.
That's right, yeah, they didn't save in Antechamber.
Yeah, and we know Twin Fires is in launch it because of that whole gravity suit kerfuffle from before, so...
Oh boy, because yeah, Supers could be past Ice Beam in the logic chain. And Awp is safe scumming the plant fight. Okay, so they don't want to commit to the early wild play, and they want to not have to search the whole seat for supers. That is a heads-up play. That is very good.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be that far behind. I mean, especially if they take a save warp here. Like, they may actually beat EmeraldPie to the back of Magmore. Like, this is a long trek to go back to front Magmore here.
Yeah, because
this might be. Oh my gosh, we might be like synced up here.
Yeah, this is what was a several-minute advantage for Emerald is going to turn into practically neck and neck here, assuming Awp save warps immediately, which he is doing.
So does Supers do anything for us? I don't think so.
No.
We've seen Hydra on Tree.
Not unless it's Supers in Workstation and Thermal Visor and Qmon, but that
but I don't even
dumb.
know. But like the Supers, I still think the Supers don't open anything up. So it's like it's just gotta be Thermal or Spider. And if it's Thermal, it's one of the two checks. It's like we're gonna see it on the way in Workstation and be done, or we know it's already on Thardis, which is wild. We have really our last location with Ice Beam, which anyone who has played more than a dozen Prime Seeds knows all too well the feeling of last location Ice Beam. It is pain.
So yeah, just like that, Awp is now climbing down to Twin Fires.
So the one thing that kind of so Emerald could get bailed here. If you randomly find supers while you're doing your artifact cleanup, you're actually way ahead again because you don't need to fight Flagra. So that's really like the big out here for Emerald, is just like we need to randomly find super missiles somewhere.
The only problem, though, is that there really isn't much of an opportunity to do so. Like, more than likely, once Ice Beam is picked up here, our runners are just going to zip through and grab their artifacts. Like,
yeah, it's like we get like Fungal Hall B for free, we get Phazon Mining Tunnel for free, we get PCA for free. So it's like got to be one of those lower mines checks, PPC, like any of the like back of mines, non-artifact checks are really what can bail you out here.
But yeah, look at this. Our runners are just a couple of rooms apart from each other now.
Yeah, this is exciting. Very interesting race. This is the kind of stuff I love. You get some route divergence, you get the resync up. Still slightly different conditions for each runner. I love it.
I would ask for nothing less on the first day of the tournament.
I know, and we've got 6 weeks and like 20 matches a week. We have so many good races going. I'm so excited.
That's a missile tank in Workstation, so it is Quarantine Monitor.
Oh, come on. Show me the thermal. Show me the thermal. I want all bosses. Yes, it is intermediate knowledge to get early wild with Spider only. And that's just put in because it's so easy to like soft lock your seed otherwise.
Oh, wow. So Emerald's decision to take a quick, I think that was an accidental not save. Yeah, this is an actual save, which, to be fair, that's a big relief considering Emerald hasn't saved in the last tower.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, just that alone put Awp ahead.
Yeah. And so, yes, answer in chat, supers are available somewhere. They are logically required to be the seed. And hard required to be the seed unless you do early wild, or I guess come here first, because we are going to find Spider in one of these, somewhere in this cave, whether it's behind Thardis or on the rock itself. We are going to find a Spider Ball. There it is.
All right. So,
gosh, that's rude.
Yeah, that is nasty.
There's never a reason to fight Thardis here. Okay, yeah. Gonna do a dash away. Don't quite get it, but we got grapple to escape, so it's no big deal. Does give Emerald a little. We're gonna kind of sync up again here, I think. If Emerald
we're literally like 10 seconds between. This is actually we have a race, folks.
Yeah, we have a race, and it's hard to know. We're not gonna know who's ahead until honestly we get through lower mines and we see if supers showed up.
Yeah, grab some more snacks. Have a seat. Here we go.
Yeah. I was about to say this is a super convenient place to go into lower mines, but we can't. We need to go all the way back to Chozo to get our ice beam, and then come all the way back here. So this is kind of rude.
Folks of Speed Gaming, I present to you trash.
Randomania can be a mean program.
Now, actually, here's the thing, though. EmeraldPie did not save Scum the Flogger Flight. Words. Emerald needs supers.
Yeah.
So
if supers don't just like show up for free, Emerald is probably way behind. If they do show up for free, Emerald is actually a bit ahead because they're going to be ahead a Flogger fight.
Right.
And then on top of that, it comes down to kind of execution. How do you move through all the rooms here? We have a lot of movement left, so there's time to make and or lose some ground to the other runner here. And go all the way through Chozo, all the way through mines.
And another thing is, because if supers do show up, Emerald will be able to skip the Flogger flight. Good grief, I still can't say that with a straight face. Emerald will still be able to skip the Flagra fight, but Awp will also be able to do reverse Flagra, which is going to basically cut the fight down by half.
Yep. Decently faster. Still kind of slow if you've gotten to watch the cutscenes. I don't know if Awp knows and or goes for the... you can stack cutscenes with some good use of power bombs. I'm not sure if that's a strat Awp knows or not. That does actually cut it down from 4 to 1, or I guess 3 to 1 if you're doing reverse Flagra cutscenes. So that is actually a pretty sizable time save. Okay, we're gonna get Flagra out of the way now. I like that. Makes sense. Getting trolled by the weeds again. Stupid tangle weeds.
Yeah, this is gonna give Emerald. Although I think Emerald doesn't realize, because they didn't reset away the Flagra fight. I don't know if they realize this isn't accessible.
Oh yeah, trying to climb up here again.
Because Emerald didn't reset away the fight, right?
I don't think so.
No, they went to
the rooms are all yellow or orange on the map. Yeah, this is
that's the realization. Ooh, that Emerald can't be feeling good about that, to be honest. I think for a few minutes they thought they were in go mode. So yeah, that's a big problem now for Emerald. So they just have to hope and pray that supers fall on their lap through lower mines.
Oh yeah, upper dynamo is a possible out. I mean, this is a slow check though. And Awp has no reason to come do this. So this is already going to be a pretty big time investment just for one possible supers location.
I mean, if this is supers, I'm going to giggle a little bit. Because
it's possible. Yeah.
It's both a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because that is behind Spider Ball, which is in Quarantine Monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, that's been in play for a very long time. Because we literally just needed Gravity Suit and Grapple Beam.
Yeah. And Wave, wherever that was.
And that was
Magmor, so we could have just gone straight through Magmor at the very start.
Yeah. But it was an energy tank, so not a bad gamble, but unfortunately didn't quite pay off. Luckily, because at the time Awp has to fight Flagra here, Emerald did have the luxury of being able to make that that detour, I should say. Because by the time they're wrapping up here and going to Far Chozo, they're actually going to pull ahead of Awp here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they will be the first to Ice Beam. May even be the first to collect all the artifacts. Or no, that's not true. Just one of the artifacts is impossible now. So that's a lot. But they may be first to at least kill OP. But yeah, at that point, if they haven't found supers, this is a really bad situation.
But yeah, here's the other problem, is that supers can be almost as literally anywhere as Phazon Suit. at this point.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, Farfen, Frigate, Life Grove area, Upper Mines, all places that EmeraldPie may end up being in check to be able to complete the seed. And obviously, none of that ever.
So yeah, this is literally just going to come down to what did Randovania decide it wanted to eat this morning.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not over yet. Because Emerald is ahead in terms of the movement through the map. Ooh.
Okay, Emerald definitely just almost got sniped off of the spider track.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty rude ghost shot there.
Ice Beam in Upper Furnace. You both love and hate to see it at the same time. Because honestly, it's just convenient for getting into Far Chozo.
Alright, well, we didn't get all major bosses on Upside, but we will get 3 major boss kills, so maybe that's just as good? Question mark? Seeing as we did Flogger twice.
Unfortunately, because EmeraldPie did the wave switch in this room, that triggers the triple ghost fight from appearing, and it generally makes Chozo runes more hostile to begin with.
This is another place where Awp is going to regain time, because Awp has no reason to do these checks. Not with the supers, so this is a time investment here. I mean, this is a big time investment just for these 2 checks. Even after the ghost fight, we have to watch the cutscene to get down in the tunnel. And true, yeah, we could have done this all in one pass and not had to do this triple ghost fight at all.
Wait a minute, I'm just realizing now, simultaneous triple ghosts.
Yeah. Hour 9 minutes in, wow.
Alright, we got our Hall of the Elders checks coming up. Yeah, super missiles would be really nice here just because of extra lock-on.
So I guess another thing of interest here is how comfortable are these runners with bar skip? Bar skip is going to be our best way into mines at this point. Depending on your comfort level with that trick, it may be slow enough that you want to take another way in. We can go all the way. We can save warp, go through Twin Fires to Magmore. We could go through Frigate. I don't like that at all for either runner, honestly. I guess it does give Emerald 2 more checks for supers, but I don't think that's worth it.
Now, this last ghost was messing with Awp for a bit.
Yeah.
Anywho, here's the artifact.
Over here. Alright. Alright, no payoff here in Hall of Elders. EmeraldPie.
Alright, well, they're off to Antechamber to pick up the artifact. That's going to be where both runners, I think, are going to go.
Yep. Yeah, what do you check here now from Emerald's side? The Life Grove area is fully in logic for us. It is actually relatively quick checks. We could take these. It would be some elevator rides to get Overgrown Cavern if you're not committing to making the thermal play after, so that's a little bit slow.
They were thinking about that for a second, but I think Emerald's going to make the trip to Upper Tree.
Yeah, I think... Like, there's some case for kind of doing Life Grove because it's on path, but generally I think what you want to be doing is, like, basically rushing your artifacts, praying that you find supers on path, and that the seed drops really well for yourself.
Yeah, it's like rushing crystal dungeons in Link to the Past Randomizer, or as we say in Ocarina of Time Rando, rushing ice.
Yeah, there was not a rush to the Ice Beam today, though. Unfortunately. Both runners last occasion, but pretty understandable. Chimon is very out of the way without supers and thermal.
All right, so the answer is not upper tree. Or not great tree chamber, rather. Is it Life Grove Tunnel? No.
Pretty cooperative Life Grove Tunnel, though. Nicely done for Emerald there.
Much more cooperative than usual.
Yep.
All right, even more missiles.
Yeah, I think that's true, Sam. Even now, if Supers are on path, having to go back and complete that ghost fight, I think, is more time than Awp is behind right now.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of trouble, though, with this furnace climb. Yeah, we'll typically try and skip this because otherwise you need to power bomb a half pipe open and... Oh, that works.
Listen, yeah, the little standable on the bottom of that spider track is, like, kind of small. Pretty easy to miss it.
Metroid Prime, where if it looks like you can stand on it, you can stand on it. And if it doesn't look like you can stand on it, you can stand on it anyway.
Alright, we got our 90% killer bar skip here on the EmeraldPie side. This is the way to avoid having to do the frigate to get into mines. Without power bombs anyways. With power bombs, we could just go into DDC. But
you know what, I'm kind of hoping it's Super Missiles and Central Dynamo. Because it's on path, but I like seeing the Zoid maze anyway. Because that's the other thing that Zoid worked on.
One of the nice new features we've had in the past year and a half or so is deterministic RNG on the maze and Zoid fight. So both runners will have the exact same maze if they choose to do it, and will have exactly the same length of Zoid fight. Previously, that could have been a source of variance in the runner's times that wasn't in their control. So this would make things a little more fair for us going forward.
Ooh, Awp just barely got the double cutscene overlap there.
Yeah, this is a nice time save here. Normally you need to watch both the statue's hands light up and then go bomb the slot and watch the morph ball tunnel change. But you can make them both play at once.
Yeah, there is a way to skip doing this path, but the way to do so is very annoying. You have to basically do an infinite bomb jump to get up to that corridor there.
Yeah, you can bomb jump into this. Yeah, there's like the UBJs or whatever they're called that are laying like 5 bombs. You can do it with a triple bomb jump too. I think it's a bit more precise. HBJ. Yeah, I forget the difference between UBJ and
HBJ, yeah.
They're all the same to me because I can't do them. This is actually probably something I should try to learn. Something like lets you get stuff like Ice Ruins East without that spider ball. You can bomb jump up there. Number of other places they're used.
All right, Awp making his way to tree to go grab to rush mines. Actually, he doesn't need to make the pit stop to Life Grove.
Yeah, I don't think I would like to see more than... Yeah, okay. Main quarry I think is fine, but I would not want to do the upper mines loop until I do the lower, just in case you get killed. So I like this play from EmeraldPie. I like chucking vanilla grapple beam is perfectly fine here too, and that's pretty quick as we're getting into this room.
Ooh, that was almost a second try bar skip.
Let's see if I can get this. Emerald got it within a 45 seconds or so. So pretty good, honestly. This trick can really mess you up, even if you've got the a decent consistency rate at it. Sometimes it just doesn't want to give it to you. Boost does help. Oh, there's a thermal for free. That's nice for the essence fight. Probably doesn't find that.
Oh, that looked good too. All right. Yeah, based on the knowledge we know, Awp has some time to figure this out, but he still can't take too long with this.
Yeah, this is like, even as someone that's like relatively comfortable with bar skip in general, like this is one of the reasons that like I might have even considered making a save warp out of anti-chamber and just going in through PPC. Because this time I know I don't need to do this trick. Because it probably doesn't take that long of attempts before this is actually slower than just having gone. Especially when your destination's lower mines. I think if you get this first try, it's probably faster. And if you get it like relatively quick, it's probably still like similar.
Yeah, I think what's happening is Awp is hugging the bars too early, and the friction is gimping the jump.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors here. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, just not quite the right direction being held. There we go.
There
Nicely
we go.
done.
And no need to open the bars since we don't need to come back here anyway. Question mark? Yeah, we can just save warp out of... we could just go back to Central Dynamo and save warp.
Yeah, well, we got to kill a P, so we'll just go back to MQB after that kill.
Oh yeah, MQB. MQB is even better. I forgot about MQB. All right, so yeah, I would say Awp still has a pretty decent advantage. Thankfully, that bar skip didn't end up burning too much into his lead.
Yeah, still I think ahead, even if supers are free, just from Emerald needing to go back to Chozo for that ghost fight. Particularly if Awp is going to be skipping all these checks on the way down here. We'll miss out on thermal if they don't check vanilla grapple beam.
Which I don't think he's going to do. Awp is, in my experience, has been known to play very conservatively when it comes to expansions, so he'll happily just dodge expansions left and right if need be.
Mm-hmm.
And perform crazy grapples like that.
That's a nice way to climb that room. Doesn't often occur to me that the grapple point can be over there even.
All right, well, we're going to see the maze here. That is an energy tank.
Rip the dream. Supers down there would have actually been really interesting.
Now, it should be noted we can now safely leave with this maze active to the firing squad. That has been patched out. That crash has been patched out.
Yep, so if you don't like the item, whether or not you killed your own, you can just leave. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah, because normally super missiling the firing squad here would basically crash the game. Would crash the game. Not basically, would crash the game if you still had the maze running. But no longer an issue now.
So yeah, good on EmeraldPie side being aware of that. Even in my weeklies, I think some folks still haven't gotten that memo. So yeah, good to be aware that you can't skip the maze, because it is kind of slow doing it if you're not even interested in the item.
That is, of course, assuming you're not just skipping the maze by poking the bottom of Morph Ball into the maze and popping out to skip the whole thing.
Yeah, that is a cool one.
That is an astounding trick. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that here. We will definitely see that over the course of this tournament.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Especially if we keep getting lousy lower mine seeds like this.
That's true. Yeah, if you ever want to use the save station, you do need to complete the maze. Which is sometimes, if you're coming down here without plasma, can be a factor, because you're often going to want to save orb at that point out of Zendina after MQA.
Do I still have eyebrows, considering that Phazon Elite's grenade practically landed in front of our faces?
Yeah. Yeah,
Follow me if you dare.
Oh,
Into the door.
did we carry the Metroid through the door? I didn't actually. I don't know if it exploded or not.
It did. It went through the door. It certainly followed us until we got to the door.
It exploded. This was one of the artifacts, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Dare I ask what this one pirate trooper was doing down here?
He's got a rough job. I don't know how he gets to and from work without having his life force pretty well good and drained.
After all, Metroids are not pets. Do not feed.
Indeed. We're probably going for the... Wow, you can just L jump that?
That was a tight jump, yeah.
I thought you needed to R jump that. That's actually that's sick, actually.
All right. Do we have super missiles in Phazon Mining Tunnel? I don't think so.
Looks like nothing to me.
All right, we've got Fungal Hall B here. This could be an important item, and in fact, it is.
No way.
Maybe it could be Ice Spreader.
That is a beam combo.
If it's Ice Spreader, I'm gonna giggle.
Oh,
It's Wavebuster.
oh Wavebuster.
What
Nobody
an
likes
insult. What an insult.
All right, we have PCA and PPC that are somewhat reasonable outs for EmeraldPie, but I think already this is looking pretty bad for EmeraldPie. But if it's not one of those, I think this is very much over.
Well, it's like I told you, folks, the hunt for the last item, the great equalizer, and that proved true today.
Emerald needs supers, Awp does not, and the reason for that is both runners did Flagra before having Spider because there's an artifact in Sun Chamber, but Awp reset it rather than dropping down, and Emerald did not. So now Emerald hard requires supers to get back up to Ghosts. Whereas Awp was able to go back with Spider and basically get the free early wild trick with just Spider Ball. Did require that Awp fight Flagra twice, which is slow, but I think that's going to end up paying off hugely here in this race, because otherwise Awp is a little bit behind still, coming in through mines. Although I suppose they wouldn't have been if they hadn't had to do the Flagra stuff again.
All right, a rare appearance in this tournament, meet Omega Pirate. Or a rare appearance in Prime Randomizer, I should say. Because, yeah, we don't often get a lot of OP required seeds. At least not when I'm around.
He's on suit somewhat frequently in my experience, but he pretty much never has had anything else that I've seen, at least on beginner crit. Like on beginner tricks, you need like almost every item in the game to get down here. I guess they theoretically have boost, thermal. But that's about the most you're going to get out of him besides the phase on suit. I guess gravity. Ooh, nice double hit on some ice pirates there. Awp does get through Wavebuster. For a second, I thought they weren't going to bother.
Yeah, that's one of those sure why not moments. I would get it.
If you have a ton of missiles, like Wavebuster is actually kind of nice for some of the phases of the Exo fight. 65, probably not really enough. Although I guess, what else are we going to spend our missiles on, huh? We don't have supers. Probably not using Flamethrower. So, honestly, yeah, Wavebuster is a decent outlet for all those missiles. True. Yeah, Wavebuster is decent for the recorded Wave Pirate fight in Mine Security Station.
All right, Awp's getting a little pestered here, so he's going to take the aggressive way and deal with the pirates accordingly.
Quite been watching the strat here Emerald's been using on the OP fight. Looks like they did get a 1 cycle.
No, that was definitely a 2 cycle.
Oh, was it? 4 pool, 1 cycle, chat saying.
Oh, 4 pool. Okay, my bad. I
Yeah,
thought OP
there's-
only gave 3.
Depends on if you really quickly stun him again, which you can, like if you do like a charged plasma and do an uncharged plasma, that will stun him every time. And you can actually, I think I've seen someone do like 5 or 6 like shots that way without him regenerating his armor if you keep sending him really quickly. It's slightly slower than the like kind of optimal method of 2 charged plasma shots with no uncharged in between. Because that kills it in 3 pools, so you don't have to wait quite as long for him to keep showing up. Emerald? Oh, yeah. Emerald checking PC, of course. Confused how much player was which for game supers.
Alright, so the answer is not PCA for EmeraldPie, so this, it's looking like, things are, going downhill here, unfortunately.
Yeah, this check is really the last chance that's somewhat quick to at least I think EmeraldPie came this way first.
Yeah, like, the worst place supers could be, like, right now is all the way in, like, Gravity Chamber or something, because that is so far right now.
Oof. We're gonna head up to Upper Mines.
And Awp's just electing to let the mooks stay in the way here, but is going to try for the 3 pool cycle here.
Yeah, so far it looks good. You're going to make sure that the timing can be a little bit tight here. You need to have a good feel for when your beam is fully charged, because you don't want to shoot a non-fully charged beam shot, but you also can't hold your charge too long, or you'll give him time to restore his armor. But yeah, nice 3 pool 1 cycle for Awp there. Textbook fight. And that will be artifact number 6 for Awp, who will be free to go beat the game.
By the way, that pose is not nearly as fancy after PAL. Actually, I think it's US exclusive.
Yeah, I like there's a super thread that I like as well. 2 missiles and then 3 supers will do the fight for you, and 3 pools as well. And then you don't have to worry at all about the plasma beam charge timing or any of that.
Yeah, so just like that, Awp skips the entire traversal back to Flagra for the last artifact, and will now go to fight final bosses.
Yep, pretty commanding lead here. I'm gonna take a ship save refill here. Even some sort of crazy unexpected death wouldn't necessarily be the end either. But we've got all 3 suits for damage reduction. We have plenty of E-tanks. Awp has been here many times before. Don't foresee any issues with this final boss cleanup here.
Yeah, nonetheless, best to be half safe than half sure.
Mm-hmm.
If Calvin would please vacate the direction of travel here, we would like to boost through this this rock wall. Thank you. Yeah, Calvin committed down. Although it looks okay. I was about to say, is Emerald stuck? But yeah, this rock wall is weird. I mean, for one thing, we're not supposed to be coming at it from this side, but you are able to boost through it if done so from the correct angle. Now, let's see what Awp decides to do here. Okay, looks like it's just going to play this normally. There is a way you can manipulate getting a flyby skip. This was semi-recently discovered, or semi-recently optimized. Yeah, it seems like EmeraldPie's having a hard time getting past this wall. Yeah, by the way, Boost Ball does 50,000 damage per frame to Phase 1 Ridley.
Yeah, real good damage to anything vulnerable, and happens to be vulnerable, at least in that phase of the fight. Which is pretty handy, because that phase is quite long if you aren't very good at flyby snipes. And honestly, even if you do get the snipes, it still adds several minutes to the fight. Yeah, supers weren't blocking anything, and they don't block that many items by themselves, so it's really anyone's best guess where they could be.
Meta Ridley's unfortunately being a little bit uncooperative here. Not too uncooperative, though. Oh. Emerald is checking this. I don't know if this is a blind check or... Nope, it's missiles.
Yeah, it's possible to peek that item with X-ray. Wonder if they just forgot they had it, or just figured it was about equally fast to just use the cannon. I've gotten punished for not killing these pirates before the fight. Sometimes they shoot you and knock you back into phase on elite's line of vision. So I definitely like to kill these guys before starting the fight. Oh,
Nice,
that's
Brenner.
not it.
This seed is just insulting EmeraldPie, unfortunately.
Every beam combo, but the one you hard require. Hydra was a missile, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Hydra was a missile expansion. If that were actually super missiles, we would have a huge problem here.
I'm going to go for the standable here to skip most of the, or at least half of the phase on core climb.
Or as I like to call the dentist's office.
Yeah. Definitely some teeth-looking standable structures here in the center of the room. Gets it. Chooses to use the power bomb for extra safety. Not going to get bullied by the Metroids on the way to the door. And we are through.
Oh, I didn't know there was an animation for a pirate spazzing out on the ground if it was hit by Wavebuster.
Huh. Yeah, supers is a horrible go mode item. Just can be anywhere. Yeah, this is one of those things where it can be hard to kind of consider that this is what you're...
And this chat is what we call improvising.
Yeah, flamethrower for whatever reason deals power beam damage, or maybe it's just that power phase is vulnerable to exactly flamethrower. I don't know. But for whatever reason, flamethrower works on both power and plasma phases. It does surprisingly mediocre damage for how slow and short-ranged and difficult it is. It actually did deprive us of some missiles we could have used on these wave phases. So while I do appreciate a good meme, honestly, I would have saved those missiles for some wave busting. Plasma processing is in play. We have 2 checks into frigate that are in play, and Farfetch. Chozo is full clear. Mines is full clear.
Yeah, I don't think it can be anywhere else besides Frigate or Farfendrana.
Yeah, we have the one-off plasma processing check for Mag 1. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's really just here or Farfen. Which honestly, like, EmeraldPie is going to be pretty close to like hundo percenting this seed. And it's only been an hour and 5 minutes. Like, this is actually pretty still impressive gameplay here on EmeraldPie side. Like, even though this routing didn't quite work out, has been pretty efficient in moving through the map and getting the checks done.
Yeah, and we saw some pretty clear evidence of the testament to both runners' skill when we saw them practically going for Spider Ball at the exact same time.
Yeah, yeah. Awp's been playing really well too. And yeah, the heads up play with Sun Chamber, knowing the danger of saving after that boss fight if you're not gonna do a really wild strat, an artifact in Sun Chamber. Really, that decision pretty much sealed the race, given that supers were not on path. And over here.
Yeah, I was saying on Sunday how every race is a lesson in a sense, and I think this one really stresses the importance of that, of either knowing early wild or routing around the ghost, being unable to do ghosts immediately.
Yeah, and this is like exactly why we have that early wild with spider trick on intermediate knowledge. Is like we don't want folks falling into this trap in a race, because like once you turn that intermediate knowledge on, supers could have been on ghosts even if supers were required to do something else. And actually, EmeraldPie might have a completely incompletable seed. So we want to avoid that, which is why we have that trick kind of isolated. Even though, like, theoretically, like, knowledge is knowledge, and saying there's levels of it is kind of a strange, I don't know, a strange way of thinking about it relative to the actual tricks, other tricks.
Well, in the meantime, Awp's continuing to just tough it out through this sub-chamber 4 here, so he's almost done.
Yeah, power really not what you want to see at all in exo fights if you don't have supers. The beam doesn't do all that much more damage than wave, and it doesn't have the homings, and it's not actually that great. Not actually all that easy to hit with either.
Thanks,
Ice
Exo. Thanks, Exo.
Rude. So you can do some manipulation of the exo fight. If you stand in the right position, you can force it to always do its melee attack, which also will prevent it from changing beam colors on you. And then if you have correct movement from there, you can dodge the melee attacks as well and get back in position to force another one. Hooks make that look really easy. I still can't do it well, so yeah, it is a bit. Do need to get a feel for it. A lot of the folks in the tournament who are of the speedrunning variety as well may be familiar with that strat as well. Emerald, this may be Emerald's first time racing solo, but Emerald did compete in the Cross Game Cup tournament last year. They were on a team with Epic Wave, and they were that team's Prime player. So they have some experience racing Prime competitively, but potentially not in a 1v1 setting.
Well, that was a bit of a fast charge.
Yeah. And so Chamber 4, Exo can decide to just start moving twice as fast. What a good fight.
This Exo is being such a troll.
I know. Constant wave and power. Not letting us use the ice and plasma deal so much more damage. You know, two fully charged shots of either beam will get you through a phase versus power anyway. It's 4 or 5. So yeah, when Exo decides to kind of troll you with that RNG, then and if you're not doing the manipulation, can really kind of spiral a bit, lose you some time. Now we're into the Essence fight. We are lacking one visor, so we will have to do the thermal phase Visorless. We have a couple strats we can use here, first of which will be some attack canceling. So Exo has a scripted number of actions it's going to try to perform before it lays another pool, being either moving or attacking with one of those shockwaves. If you let it start to do one of those actions and then stun it with a phase-on shot, that still counts as one of the actions. So rather than just kind of blasting the whole pool at once, if you kind of let it reset and start to turn to do something else, usually folks kind of watch the chin and see when the chin kind of gets back to that neutral center position. Shoot again. He's like a little quick. Awp may actually be going straight for, pool cancels, which is the other strat, where when you enter and leave the pool, you are able to fire the phazon beam for more time than you're actually standing in the pool, and the pool is only depleting when you're actually in the pool, so you kind of get extra damage out of each phazon pool more than you would if you just kind of stood in the center and unloaded it all at once.
Yeah, essentially the first hit as you enter the pool when holding A doesn't count.
So I'll play with some nice knowledge, knowing that the thermal phase, actually I think all the phases, but especially the thermal, really tries to spawn like directly behind you, or like between, behind you.
Yeah, unfortunately Essence didn't really cooperate there, so was bouncing around, so Awp didn't really get that many shots in.
What I'm trying to say. It's not behind you. It's like on the other side of the pool from you, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So if you watch where you are relative to the pool, you can know where it's going to show up and get some shots in, even though you can't see it without the thermalizer.
So yeah, we're going to see those pool cancels again here to get a little extra damage here, which Awp is burning through that pool real quick. I think burnt all of it before. Yeah, burnt all of it. So we're going to have to wait for another pool here, but did manage to get the attack phase going a little bit further here. Unfortunately, though, Essence is in a really bad spot because if Essence is too close to the body, she'll just visor skip to the next visor and not lay a pool. Thankfully, not the case here.
Be able to just stand here and it's so rude when next to your Essence. There we go. And that will do it here for Awp, who finishes in first place with a race time 1:44.23. It's your GGs in chat for Awp.
Well played, folks. All right, so with that, Awp and Mr. Miguel drawing the first blood in our round one of Swiss tonight.
Yeah, already today. A couple pretty good races. I'm really excited to see what the rest is. Oh, I've never seen this before. Oh.
That's an interesting way for Security Cave.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's a really good, like if you're not super comfortable with like LRR jumps or don't have grapple, that's a really good way to get the item actually.
We are joined in the booth by Awp82. Congratulations, GG.
GG. Well, my hope came true. My routing made up for the clumsy movement.
Indeed, that was definitely the big deal tonight. You had gone back for power bombs after reading artifact hints. EmeraldPie actually went to get power bombs first. And we're now joined as well in by EmeraldPie in the booth, who has issued a DNF and will not be finishing. But GG to you.
I got one question. Where were supers?
We're about to find out in Awp's credits because he didn't find them either.
So yeah, the kind of key decision was actually you were both to Flogger at about the same time, but Awp reset after the Flogger fight to ensure that supers weren't required, and was going to come back with the spider ball later, redo the fight, and get the artifact. Whereas EmeraldPie dropped down and was basically committed to finding supers at that point, and they just would not show up.
Thardis.
Yeah, it was either that or...
Yep.
You're telling me...
I could have done that.
You're telling me that we had to take that spider ball and whatnot to Storage Depot A and then come back to go fight Thardis.
Wow.
Logical all major bosses. Amazing.
Folks, I present to you trash.
Yeah, as soon as I got Spider, there was no way I was doing Thardis because Spider was the only thing I needed since I didn't know I know it, but I'm not good at the spiderless trick to get Ice Beam. And then, what was the other reason?
Flagra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't practice early wild, so
Yeah,
Shoutouts.
I didn't realize till after I fought Flagra, and I hadn't saved that Thardus check was in logic. So I only realized after.
Yeah.
The Thardus came into logic after ice because you do actually logically need thermal to fight Thardus. So you were logically expected to go all the way to that vanilla grapple room before going back for the supers at Thardus, which is
Oh, right,
pretty
it's B,
atrocious.
not
But
A.
wait, if you said Thardus or that Thardus check is locked behind ice,
Yeah,
Or-
because you need ice beam to get thermal visor in storage depot B.
Yeah, logically, anyways.
yeah,
I
so I had to
thought
go.
you couldn't get there without ice though. Aren't there ice doors?
You could get to Thardus with wave through.
Yeah, I meant to the thermal visor.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Yeah.
that's why we're saying
Oh,
it was behind ice in the logic chain. Because you were supposed to get ice, go to mines, then
I
come back to
gotcha.
Thardus. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so logically, this was an all bosses seed on the first night of the tournament.
Yeah, I guess going back to the start of the race. So, yeah, EmeraldPie, you did actually end up with a bit of an early routing advantage. You found the main PBs in Chozo before heading back to landing site, and then were able to and routed directly into Magmore at that point. And Magmore was kind of loaded. You got wave beam bombs there. Whereas Awp went into mid Chozo, fought Zoid, had to reset. But then it kind of ended up evening out at that point once you both pretty much last locationed quarantine monitor, because that makes total sense, right? Like, why would you go all the way out there for one isolated check? And really the difference at that point was just the Flagra and Sun Chamber logic.
Yeah. Other than that, like it was literally like 10 seconds between the two of you, not even at that point for Spider Ball.
Yeah, you were both playing really well. Definitely kudos. Good execution. Some cool tricks. I had never seen that standable before in Thunder on His Edge. That was actually kind of cool to get to the storage cave item.
Oh yeah, that one. I forget where I saw that one from. I think it was a TGC, one of his runs before he did it for 100% run or something. I don't know. That's where I saw it from.
All right. Well, still plenty of tournament left for the both of you. So your thoughts going forward?
Saving before Flagra next time.
Save anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, saving is good. You never know if you'll take a crazy death somewhere or anything like that. But yeah, we've got some more races on the books for you all tomorrow. Nothing else tonight. We do have the Ginger Chris versus Xeno Wars tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Cestrion versus Cosmonaut at 3 p.m.
That's a good match. That's going to be a match between cross game cup partners. Now I can't wait to see how that plays.
Yeah, Cestrion and Cosmonaut were the winners of our co-op CGC tournament. So now they have gone from allies to rivals in this tournament. I'm really excited to check that one out tomorrow.
Yeah, so, and again, our matches for round one are a bit more spread out for the next 2 weeks because we are, again, granting an extra week to accommodate for folks that are currently attending or otherwise involved with Summer Games Done Quick. But once that's done, folks, again, we're going to be looking at like 19 matches a week here. So barring any severe scheduling issues, we do hope to bring those to you. So with that said, anything else, runners, you want to say before we wrap up tonight?
I'm good.
Nothing
GG Emerald.
else. Please.
Captain, getting those links in there. Be sure to give the runners a follow, as well as our trackers, Pure Roulette and Salmon. Thank you very much for helping us out in the booth today. Captain, pleasure as always commentating with you. Sure
Thank
to
you,
give Captain
Baha.
a follow as well.
Thank you, Baha. Same to Baha as well. So thank you for letting me join you here this evening. With that said, folks, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next mission. Take care.
Bye bye now.
See ya.
See ya.